Hi, today we are going to talk about painting with gouache. So gouache is a paint that is very similar to watercolor and very similar to acrylic. So if you don't have gouache and you've got one of the others, that's fine. You can still work with it, okay? Another thing that we've got in this video tutorial is watercolor paper. So watercolor paper is quite a thick and it's got a bit of a texture to it. It's just to absorb the water. If you don't have it, that's fine. You can just use printer paper, just fold it in half just so it becomes a little bit thicker. And when you are painting with it, just stick it down in the corners on a table just so it doesn't go all wavy when you add the water, okay? Another thing that we've got there is also a palette. If you don't have a palette, just use a plastic plate. If you don't have a plastic plate, you can also, with a bit of cling wrap or a bit of foil, aluminium foil, you can cover a plate just so you don't break the plate, or else Mum's going to be very angry. You can cover a plate with it and then just mix up your colours there, and then once you're done, you just wrap it up and put it in the bin, okay? Another thing that we've got are the paintbrushes. So I like to use round paintbrushes. You don't have to use round paintbrushes, but they are the best just because of they hold a lot of water and quite a bit of paint as well. Another thing is 2 containers. I've just got containers from things I had used from the cupboard. You can also use plastic cups. These ones are a little bit better just because they won't fly away or drop easily when they do have water. So one will be for clean water and the other one will be for dirty water when we clean our brushes, okay? So what I'm doing here is I had the primary colour, so I had red, yellow and blue. I did put them in the palette and now I'm just mixing the colours to make the secondary colour, so to make purple, green and orange, okay? So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. So what I've done is I've just put a little bit of water onto my brush. So once you put your paint onto your palette, what I normally do is I get one of the paintbrushes, I dip it into the water, and then what I do is I just squeeze. 1 drop or 2 drop, 1 drop I think should be enough. Just drop it into your colour and then just mix it around just to give it that wet consistency, just like you can see now with the red. So if you look at the yellow on the top right-hand corner, you can see that it's a little bit thicker than, for example, the red just below it, just because the red has a little bit more water. Doesn't matter, okay? So it's a technique you're learning. See how now I'm putting down that red or that orange, very dark orange. It doesn't have a lot of water in it. That is why it's harder to actually paint with it. It's fine if you see that that's happening. Just put a little bit of water on your paintbrush. Make sure to, every time you dip your paintbrush in water, just remove the excess of the water just so you don't have water dripping everywhere all over your artwork, because if that happens, you can ruin your artwork with just 1 drop of water, okay? So you dip it in there and just make sure you remove the excess, and then you can go in and get a little bit of paint, okay? So what I'm doing here is just simply just brushing on the paint anywhere I'd like. It's not a science. This is just so you can get the feel of what it is to paint with gouache. If you've got acrylic, what it is to paint with acrylic, which is very similar. If you've got watercolor, you don't put as much water into it as you would with gouache, or else it becomes very, very liquidy. So I don't have enough blue there. I'm just putting a little bit more blue. As you can see, the blue had a lot of water. That is why it's a very clear blue. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit more. So with all those colours, just place them wherever you want. You can do circles. I just did lines. So, just have fun with it. And if you've got any questions, just ask me later, okay? So I'll just put the final product there for you. I hope you enjoy. If you do have any questions, don't forget to ask. And just remember, there are no mistakes. Have fun.